Good evening, everybody. Good evening, everybody. Or I don't know what I was trying to say there. Or good afternoon, wherever you're watching. And welcome along then to round 7 of the Bahrain Grand Prix. We've just wrapped up the actual F1 Grand Prix earlier on, and here's hoping then the drivers here and ISRL can live on to that hype as well, as we are here for the Bahrain Grand Prix for round 7. The lights here, we're not in the F1 2022 cars, but we have got the 2021 cars, which we hope will still be just as good for racing around the 15 corners of the Bahrain International Circuit. While it was the start of the season in Bahrain for the F 2022 season, this is round 7 for us, and it's been a dominant season so far for Synchro, a 46-point lead in the championship for the Haas driver ahead of Marco in the Aston Martin. So it really has been a dominant performance to say the least. But let's see how they go here around this circuit in this 18-minute qualifying session to determine who will take pole position for the Grand Prix. Good battle for second as well going on between Marco and Sir Vapor as well, so they'll be nip and tuck with each other. A couple of returning favourites as well. Wild Dog is back, along with Vexter, and a very common name for many, I assume. As we watch there, the Alfa Romeo of Michael Fures on the medium compound tyres as they make their way through. A little bit of weaving there down the back straight before they head into turn 15 to start their first flying lap of the session. Open up the DRS zone down here. 3 DRS zones, not 15 DRS zones, I was about to say. 15 corners, not 15 DRS zones. If it did, it'd be a bit manic. Furious then breaks into turn 1, hits the apex nicely. And makes their way down into the second DRS zone. Nice clear track out in front of them as they make their way through turn 4. Doesn't go too wide. Now through 5 and 6. So 28.4 for the first sector. You saw that they just slightly lost the car. That's because they went over one of the high curbs there. As they head into turn 8. And steps onto the power before the tricky braking of turns 9 and 10. Neat and tidy through there. And there's the third DRS zone. Probably the weakest DRS zone of the three. Not going to see many overtakings there, but they definitely can happen into turn 11. And now a run up the hill into turn 11 and 12. Don't hit that curb on the right-hand side. Seen cars spin off there. Now turn 14 as they power down the back straight. And now turn 15, one final corner then for Fures. Will they get on the power? I think the back end slightly stepped out again. But Fures then to cross the line. It's a 1:29.2. That's the first lap time. I believe a McLaren of Azen will be next, or maybe not, because they have invalidated. is Whitson behind a Red Bull. This is Greenwell Army. Now Greenwell is on a hot lap, so doesn't need to get out of the way there. So Whitson very close to the Red Bull for a reason. Greenwell initially went fastest before Whitson put in a 1:27.9, and Darren off 20 splits those two to go second fastest. Wild Dog then. Ian Williams had an opportunity to win in... Well, actually had an opportunity for a good result in Singapore, if I remember last week. Didn't happen, but goes fastest now with a 1:27.4. That was a Ferrari getting out of the way. Here's the championship leader then, on their first flying lap. They haven't actually had a very good few qualifying sessions. I mentioned this last week, and that's why. That's a very interesting mistake there. So they went all four wheels off mid-straight there. So Synchro kind of unnecessarily invalidating there. So Otto now goes fastest. So it's a Williams 1 and 2 at the moment. Just slightly ahead of their teammate. As we watch then, the returning Vexter for Alpine. Slightly misses the apex of turn 11. It's behind an AlphaTauri as well. I think that might actually be Whitson. I think Whitson's on either a cooldown lap or an in lap. Vexter might get a little bit of a tow here off the back of that AlphaTauri. Picks up the power nicely, back in a little step out again as the AlphaTauri makes their way into the pits. Then Vexter across the line, goes fourth fastest for them. Fallen Monkeys then will be next across the line. That you saw there, Rusty Orkan moving up to 7th place, which is quickly taken by the McLaren. Wild Dog now retakes that fastest lap and goes 3/10 quicker than their teammate. Good stuff there from them. Free Fall about to start their first flying lap. Been a bit of a struggle for the Ferrari driver this season as they adjust to the new wheel setup that they have now. Practice makes perfect. You see there they were struggling there for rear traction just coming off the exit of turn 2 and 3. Through turn 4. Goes a little wide but keeps it within the track limits, and now through you can see that the car just picking up so much understeer, so Freefall having massive aerodynamic imbalances as you're seeing. Avoids the traffic there as they enter into turn 10. Very neat and tidy exit there. DRS open. Close quickly before they turn into turn 11. Oh, gotta be careful because I always get nervous watching. They hit that curb, you'll see them spin round, that's wide. Freefall will keep that lap going. Braking down into turn 15. Again a little wide. Dexter, I think that's Victor, who's just moved up to 4th place. As well as their teammate. Freefall goes 11th fastest. Seeing a few more cars going on as well. Here is Mike Oxong. Just behind the Ferrari, actually. As Freefall gets out of the way. DRS wide open here. This purple and teal helmet for Oxong. Oxong's been kind of a quiet one the last few recent races. Has had solid pace all around, so we'll see how they are just starting a fast lap as well. The 1:27.1 to beat for Wild Dog. Both Williams then looking very, very strong it seems. Wild Dog especially. Still haven't seen laps from 6 of the cars at the moment. Synchro back out on the medium tyres. Oxong then 105.5 for the middle sector. Saw it flash purple there as well, but always have to take it with a pinch of salt. Might have seen Greenwell Armies up in 8th place as well. That's their next flying lap. As Oxong does miss out on provisional pole at the moment by 3/100ths of a second. Greenwell Army a 10th quicker, or just over a 10th quicker in the first sector. Their teammate Stanek about to set a flying lap, and that is goes round. There is Greenwell Army on the exit of turn 8 as their teammate goes fastest. Greenwell Army then keeps out of the way, will return back onto the track. Yeah, mentioning their teammate fastest by 8/100ths of a second for that provisional pole time. No one's on the medium tyres except Synchro themselves. See what lap time that gets them. Hazen, I think, is invalidated somewhere. Stanek going again, maybe? Not sure. Wild Dog's back out again. Both Williams actually back out. Go back on board with Synchro. I'm interested to see where these medium tyres run, and Smartly there moves to the right to try and catch the slipstream of the Red Bull there. Maybe find a bit more time down the back straight. Moves out of the way very nicely there as well in the process. 106.3 then, middle sector, definitely not as quick as we've seen. Saw Mike's originally was a 105. Doesn't invalidate on this occasion, so Synchro then will have a short dash to the line. Where will this lap be? It's only 10th fastest for 128 flat. See there the two McLarens. I don't know if they're just towing each other actually. Azen and Fallen Monkey. Sure they're lifting there for Azen, so I'm not sure they're on a particularly fast lap as well. Here is Vapor. Vapor's looked very strong over the last few races, it must be said. 105.3, I believe also was the winner of Singapore. Memory is a little bad. Pretty sure they did win Singapore. And it was indeed, yeah. Memory is a bit bad, but yeah, Vapor was indeed the winner from last week. So apologies for forgetting for that. Let's see where they go this time, and it's quicker now than the rest of the field, and we're into the 126s. This Wild Dog. Sorry, this is not Wild Dog. This is Otto. Quicker in the first sector. Wild Dog had backed out from their first initial lap. Otto finding a little bit more time in the middle sector. Just about keeps it on the track there. Thought it was going to go off there. On the exit of turn 14. Otto then, around the final corner, will pick the throttle up nicely. See there a little shake in the rear from the Williams. As Otto then remains in 6th place despite an improvement. Marco's up to 5th place as well. Haven't mentioned them much, to be honest. Just haven't really caught up, it seems. As Fallen Monkeys moves into the top 10. Good stuff from them. This is down in 13th place at the moment. Rusty Orkan not improving either. See if Wild Dog is going for another lap. Indeed they are. Let's see where they can pop themselves. Stanek out for another outlap as well. Wild Dog there almost running across the entire curb to get through there. Out then into turns 9 and 10. down the back straight here, where the F2 cars usually are hibernating, or F3 cars as well. Runs over the curb there as well, slightly as Wild Dog. Might have lost a little bit of time through that. I'm amazed to see no one's hit the turn 12 curb there. Wild Dog up slightly in the middle sector, but it's these slight gains that they'll need. And you see the time differences. Top 5 all within 2 tenths of each other. Actually, if you look at the top 7, Wild Dog is pitting. And that makes sense with 3.5 minutes to go. They didn't think potentially that lap was good enough. And so wants to pit and get another lap in then. Smart there. Furious in 7th place at the moment. They all seem to be backing off for the time being. Rusty Orkan making their way out. Here's Darren R420 in the Haas. So both Haas cars 13th and 16th, not ideal for them at the moment. Darren, not a great middle sector either. I presume might be coming back into the pits. The one we should be focusing on is Stanek actually. Stanek is on a flying lap, I believe. Might need to make this one count actually. It's 2.5 minutes to go. Won't be able to pit and go again. Here comes the Red Bull. Stanek now takes provisional pole, and that's a big leap there. That's a 1:29.5. That's 4 tenths quicker than the rest of the field. There's the gaps to emphasise. Actually, just over 3 tenths actually between the 3 of them. Such close times at the moment. The cars make their way out for a final lap then. Vexter going once again. And Paul Hartman's looks to be struggling potentially for quali pace, potentially. Might need a bit of a slipstream, it seems. As Vexter through turn 10. You can see the top 7 all on their outlap, so we'll keep an eye on them later on. But they'll need a fair bit of time to find. The main thing for them is no mistakes at all. Because you can see, the differences are so slim. You leave a little bit of time somewhere, that could cost you about 3 or 4 places. Vexter has backed off from their lap, as you can see. So I wonder if Stanek's going to go again, if they've got enough fuel in this last minute. Vapor is about to start their final flying lap. What's interesting here is their teammate is right in front of them. So I wonder if Vapor will get the benefit of a tow from their teammate. You can see them there, just in the distance. Will Whitson keep out of the way? Whitson not on a fast lap themselves. Vapor though has lost a 10th in the first sector. Marco's moved up to 3rd place then on their run. Oh, sorry, is that... No, oh, Marco's lost it. I don't know if Marco is on a lap or not, but Marco in 3rd place. So both have DRS here. I imagine Whitson will just get out of the way. Whitson's not. Whitson... Now, I'm not 100% sure. I believe Whitson might be an AI there. But that might have compromised Vapor's lap time. Vapor still down in the middle sector. So that was an... Whitson just has AI on his car, and in doing so won't be able to... That might have compromised Vapor's opportunity to take pole here, and Vapor back into the pits then. So Vapor will not be taking pole. Stanek, it's 1:26.5 then. The lap time to beat. Who can stop them? Mike Oxon will remain in 6th place. Wild Dog has gained 4 tenths in the middle sector, so I tell you what, if Wild Dog can hook a really good final sector here, That could be a threat for Stanic's pole position. Can the Williams driver snatch pole from the Red Bull here? As they power down then, DRS opened. What is Wild Dog's time? It is provisional pole by just under 3/100ths of a second. As their teammate pits, as does Marco. Wild Dog then looks to have pole position locked up for them. The two McLarens then 15th for Azen. Fallen Monkeys will pit as well. And that is your qualifying all said and done then. Wild Dog with a brilliant lap towards the end. Takes pole position from Stanic by the slimmest of margins. Vapor was not on a particularly amazing lap anyways, but I wonder if they'll be upset by what happened with their teammate. Synchro did end up getting to 4th ahead of Marco. That's big for them. Michael Fiore is in 5th. Vapor ahead of both of them. That's at least a benefit for them. So there then, just to confirm, it's Wild Dog then. Starts from pole. Stanic might be a bit upset they missed out by such a slim margin. Vapor 3rd, Synchro 4th, Fures 5th. Marco in 6th, ahead of Mike Oxong, Otto 8th. Freefall in 9th. That's a good result for Freefall. I think that's Freefall's best qualifying so far this season. Good stuff for the Ferrari driver. Vexter in 10th. Fallen Monkeys, Whitson, Victor, Hartman, Azen, Greenwell Army, Rusty Orkan, and Darren R420 will round out the back of the field in this 18-car session. I believe we're missing an Aston Martin and a Ferrari. But still, 18 drivers are more than enough to make it a good result. Or a good race, we hope. So then, we'll wait for the cars and the teams to be all set up. Of course, reminder, they can only change their front wing and tyre pressures. I think differentials as well. We shall see what they can do. We're just waiting for the timer to count down to 0, and then once we get that, we'll be ready to go. Alright then, as we get underway, Wild Dog then will lead the drivers around, and Wild Dog decides to spin the car. Thankfully, damages off on the formation lap, otherwise that would have been a rather embarrassing way to lose the lead of the race. That would be a David Coulthard moment. Remember, he did that in a Williams, I believe, during the Italian Grand Prix at one point. So Wild Dog avoids that embarrassment. And we'll try and recover back to the field. Here's the starting tyres. Top 10 all qualified on soft tyres. So they have to start on those. But the rest who have a free choice of tyres, all going for the medium compound tyres. So they'll go longer in that race, or in the race. And you have to imagine those on the soft tyres, when they pit, they'll have to consider those medium runners. Because when they do pit, they're going to have to pass them. That could lose track time as a result. There's the tyre strategies. So they're predicting a 2-stop strategy then. 2 sets of softs onto a set of mediums. Medium runners might consider a 1-stop strategy by going for medium to hard tyres. So it'll be interesting to see how we go. Wild Dog keeping a fairly large gap there. Now, Wild Dog in theory should be well, I know they're the race leader. They did spin, but Wild Dog should really be catching back up to Stanic. Stanic is backing up here, but Wild Dog should be within 10 car lengths of the Red Bull here. We have seen this before where large gaps exist. Look at the Mercedes as well. Both Mercedes are a long way back from the field as well. They should keep together, and Stanic's very, very good here. And back up slightly. You can still see large gaps though. between them. Hartmann's left the session. Not ideal for them. Wild Dog then back ahead of the field, and will take their pole position, starting grid. The cars will line themselves up. Down in R420 then, the last of them. And that should be all 18 cars locked and loaded then. We hope that Hartmann can rejoin very quickly, as we are ready for the Bahrain Grand Prix. Let's see if it's just as good as the F1 race today. We are underway for the Bahrain Grand Prix. That looks like a pretty decent start from the front too. But Stanek already alongside and passing Wild Dog. Wild Dog getting swallowed up by the pack here. Now Vapor trying to go round the outside as well. Going off the track, there was an Alfa Romeo as they went through. Vapor goes round the outside, and an Aston Martin and a Alpine has gone off the track. That would of course be Marco as well. That is hugely unfortunate for them. And Marco drops to the back of the field, but Stanek takes the lead of the Grand Prix. Great start from them. Wild Dog down a few places already, and under pressure then from the Haas of Synchro. But a horrific start for Marco, down in 13th place now, and has got some work to do, as Synchro almost going into the back of Wild Dog, but Wild Dog just struggling at the start then for grip, it seems. It didn't look too bad off their first initial getaway. But as soon as they started to go up the gears, they just fell backwards there. So hugely beneficial for Stanek and Vapor. Vapor will be looking for back-to-back victories. Stanek will be looking for a first one. All going well so far. Whitson up to 9th place, gaining a few places. That partially might be due to the contact between the Alpine. I believe it will be Mike Oxong then. And also Marco as well. That's a Ferrari. That someone went round. That was Freefall earlier. Freefall is round. I did see the Ferrari spin, and Freefall's good qualifying ends basically just like that after such a good qualifying from them. Freefall has spun it on the final corner, and that is them out of the race. Doesn't look like we're getting a safety car or virtual safety car, but that is such a shame, and Freefall's season gets worse. Marco in the pits already, presumably for a front wing change. Not the start they would have liked at all, and they'll be praying for a safety car to be coming out. Meanwhile, the Alpine of Vexter under pressure from Whitson. Whitson trying to go around the outside into turn 4. And I think looks like they've got the job done. They just had enough grip to do so. And Whitson up to 7th place. Good start here for the AlphaTauri on the medium compound tyres as well. Just to remind you as well, we'll be after Sir Otto next up then in the Williams, maintaining that 6th place. And Wild Dog getting close to the back of Vapor here. They're all keeping very good tabs with each other for the time being. No DRS enabled just yet. We've got a good line, or DRS train if you like, being formed between them. We have got the timings for the top 10 for some reason. I'm assuming they'll be brought back towards the end of this lap. Stanek not pulling away from the rest of the field as much as they would have liked to. You can see Wild Dog closing up then to the AlphaTauri. DRS will be enabled on this occasion, but it won't be activated until the end of turn 1. You saw there Wild Dog sets the fastest lap of this race. He was looking for a move on Vapor, but just a bit too far back at the moment. They'll all start to have DRS on each other. This is where it could get a bit sticky for them. See their Vapor just moving, trying to widen their exit out of the corner as well. Vexter back on the tail of Mike Oxong, and Fallen Monkeys has had a spin in that McLaren. Back on track they go. Not been the best season for them either. Both of them, both Fallen Monkeys and Marco, struggling at the moment. See whether or not there'll be an inquiry of the stewards later on regarding that contact. We think Marco had a contact with an Alpine, and my guess is it was Mike Oxong. They've dropped down the field. So Otto He's now on the back of Michael Fures as well. Big gap between the top four and them. Might be held up by the Alfa Romeo. Synchro just keeping on the back of Wild Dog, who's keeping on the back of Vapor. Excuse me. Otto's very close to the back as well. There's the two Alpines switching place as well. Oxon back ahead of Vexter. Let's see where these all go here. Otto having a look on Michael Fures then. So that should hopefully free the Williams to go chasing after. Oh, and Michael Fures goes straight into the polystyrene boards there. You saw that Otto did kind of move back onto the racing line. I wonder if Michael Fures is just trying to avoid there. As down the inside goes Michael Fures, but brakes too heavily. And Otto says, thank you very much. I will take that 5th place back from them. So Otto up to 5th place, can now go chasing after Synchro and join in on that battle with their teammate. You also saw earlier Hartmann is back as well. They've rejoined, but they're down in 15th place as well. So not ideal for them as it stands at the moment. But we'll keep our fingers crossed for them. Otto 3.5 seconds back, so they've got to do so much for them. Someone said bless you as well. Appreciate it, although I did cough. Thank you, Sarah. Two Alpines then. Vexter still keeping on tab to their teammate. Whitson is now on the back of Fures. Fures is struggling for pace at the moment. As R420 has just got past Rusty Oilcan's Alpha as well. Fures first then to pit, and I think that was understandable. They ran out of pace, I think. They had the DRS. Keeping them all together, really. Fures has gone onto the medium tyres, will come out back in 16th place. Greenwell Army trying to find a way past the McLaren of Azen. No way around just yet. Does seem like it's all getting a bit quiet at the moment. Mercedes and Victor trying to catch up to them as well. Synchro seems to have slowed down a little bit. Victor's now got ahead of Greenwell Army as well into turn 10. Mercedes and a Red Bull around this track is not uncommon. That's that's a spinner. That's Michael Fures. They've had a pretty messy race, and that's on their outlap then, where it's cool tyres or whatever. Fures really is in a danger now. And Stanek just has dropped Vapor out of DRS range. Vapor could be under pressure soon, since they don't have DRS, but Synchro close to Wild Dog. But again, no way through yet. They're all smartly conserving their battery, although Synchro under braking gets very close to the Williams here. Although not really making much gains on any of these at the moment. Rusty Orcan's got past R420 as well. There's a slight lock up there as well, as there's Whitson trying to get past Sawotto as well. Synchro, oh, this is Synchro trying to go around the outside of Wild Dog into turn 8. No moves there, but Wild Dog under pressure. That's going to release Vapor then from pressure. You see Synchro locking up into turn 10 slightly on the front left tyre. But by fighting there, Wild Dog has lost the DRS. And Synchro might be finding an opportunity here on the Williams. Does Wild Dog have enough battery to defend that? Oh, and doesn't matter. Wild Dog's gone round. And usually with Wild Dog, it's not a matter of if when he spins, it's when he spins. It almost collects the Alpine of Vexter there. But Synchro moves up into the podium places. That's been an inevitability, really, with Wild Dog. super quick driver, but lacks the consistency to make good race results happen, which is such a shame. Such a quick driver. As Whitson repasses Otto then, and you saw their Wild Dog into the pits then. Whether there's any front wing damage or not, we'll see. In comes the Williams. Doesn't look like front wing damage, which is good, so they won't be held in the pits for too long. On going to medium tyres then for them. Such a shame for them. The teammate under pressure then from Whitson. So Synchro moves into the podium positions. How long will those medium tyres go for? There's our first 3-second time penalty for Fures. The race has gone from bad to worse, really. Otto doesn't seem close to Whitson, but Mike Oxong seems very close to Otto. This DRS train continuing to go. Meanwhile, Stanek has a 2.2 second gap out in front. Looking very good for the Red Bull at the moment, ahead of the junior team. AlphaTauri 2 and 4 at the moment as well. Going very well for them. As Vapor then is in the pits then from second place. So this presumably is an undercut attempt. On to go the mediums then. So Static surely will react to that. Vexter pits as well. Where will the AlphaTauri come out? They'll drop a few positions. They should come out just ahead of the McLaren of Fallen Monkeys, and does so. Not a bad gap actually to put them. And now Stanek will have to push to ensure they can pit as well. And I think that's Michael. That's another Alfa Romeo, and that's now a virtual safety car deployed because Rusty Oil Can has spun on the exit of turn 3. Now it's both Alfa Romeos having issues, but it has brought out the virtual safety car. Now, nobody is near the pit stops at the moment to take advantage of it, but if they can get there, it'll be a benefit for at least a cheaper pit stop, especially since the pit window is open. Both Alphas struggling though. Rusty Orkan drops down to 15th place. Oh, and with the safety car wasn't ready, got caught out, and Whitson in 3 laps time, or within the next 3 laps, has got to pit and take a 20-second penalty, or the equivalent of it. That's a shame for them. But Stanek then pits then, so Stanek responding to that pit stop by Vapor. So Synchro will take the lead of this race, also pitting his Mike Oxlong as well. Now where is Vapor? Vapor, as we watch Hartman on Darren off for 20. Watch that battle. Darren ahead. But where is Stanek then? There you can see the Red Bull, who is just ahead, quite comfortably actually, of the AlphaTauri. And I wonder if that virtual safety car helped, because Vapor, as a result of that, couldn't actually push on those fresh tyres. So Stanek kind of gifted there in a way with that. Wild Dog moves ahead. Oh, Vexter. Oh, and is that Wild Dog again? Yes, it is. Wild Dog having a bad to... Well, their race going from bad to worse, essentially. Drops even further down the field as well. Whitson, who, remember, with a drive-through penalty, you cannot change tyres. Whitson will drop out of this battle for the podium places, so that will promote Otto into second place. Everyone from 3rd down to 8th has not made a pit stop just yet. So eventually it should be Stanek and Vapor back into the net 2nd and 3rd. Synchro still hasn't made a pit stop yet and has stayed out. Whitson comes in to serve that drive-through penalty. Otto pits then for their official pit stop. Dank now trying to get through the cars at the moment. This is ISRL Hartman. And on the fresher tyres. And even though Hartman has DRS, won't be enough to keep them ahead. And Stanek ahead of one car. Might go for the second car as well. Goes straight down the inside. But a virtual safety car has been deployed now. That is, I think, for Wild Dog again. Yes, it is. On the exit of turn 14. No front wing. And such a huge shame for them. Their race going from bad to worse. I've said that before, but it's got even worse. If it couldn't already. Can't even turn the car through turn 15. And I think it's going to pit, and I presume either pit or retire. We'll see. I think they will continue to go. Where did Whitson drop? Whitson drops down to 9th place at the moment. There they are behind their teammate, actually, of Vapor. Whitson will still need to make a pit stop, but... Wild Dog goes on to the medium tyres. Will come back out in 16th place. They'll need a safety car. As will both Alfa Romeos, actually. The Synchro leads there, and I wonder why Synchro is waiting so long to respond. Or actually, they're not. They are pitting now. Greenwell Army gets now is the next one to get a drive-through penalty in 4th place. But the safety car, virtual safety car ended as soon as Synchro pitted. And Greenwell Army immediately comes in to serve that drive-through penalty. Medium tyres go on here. So Stanek, who gets past their teammate actually of Darren R420. Synchro will come back out behind both of these two. Oh, and that's Darren R420. I thought they were going to have a spin as well. But they basically lost the rear of the car. And Vapor said, cheers mate, I will take that. As this is Sir Otto on Vexter. These two have pitted. And Otto ahead of the Alpine and up into 8th place. Good stuff there. One Williams still in the points. Wild Dog outside of them and a long way back as well. Stanek will next have Victor, who's a long way down the field. But Vapor now has got DRS on the race leader. And that's Wild Dog finally out then. Wild Dog has crashed. A virtual safety car has been deployed for a 3rd time. And that pretty much puts an end to Wild Dog's Bahrain Grand Prix. Started on pole, lost the lead in turn 1, and went south from there. So 3 virtual safety cars. Hazen leading the Grand Prix, hasn't pitted, is about to now. They're all coming in for those 3 cheap pit stops. Victor pits as well, so that should give the lead back to Stanek, and it does. Victor pits as well. Now, interesting, Victor on these soft tyres as DRS gets a name. The race goes back underway. Victor's soft tyres would suggest he's on a 2-stop strategy. Now, interestingly, Synchro is behind their teammate, who I presume will be moved out of the way very quickly there. But Stanek having a much better restart because they've dropped them out of DRS zone. They're the 2 Alpines swapping positions again. And Vexter back behind Oxong as they go chasing after Otto. Otto now behind the McLaren here of Fallen Monkeys. Monkeys hasn't pitted yet. Otto has. So this should be fairly straightforward here for the Williams to blast past this McLaren. Both Mercedes powered, of course. Not that makes a difference. Meanwhile, that's the 2 Haas cars swapping around, and I get the feeling that was a bit orchestrated between them. Otto trying to find a way through, potentially going to go around turn 11 and 12, and does so very easily, actually, I might add. So does Oxong as well. And Fallen Monkeys really didn't have the grip to fight that, and I get the feeling Vexter will be past them as well, and does so. Vexter up into 7th place. Fallen Monkeys loses 3 places in the space of about 2 corners. And I imagine Monkeys will pit in just a moment. And indeed they do. For their first official pit stop. And Fallen Monkeys unfortunately gets a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. As now Mike Oxong chases the Williams here. They've been trying to get past them for a while. Now Otto has no DRS. Can Oxong find a way through? Whitson gets the fastest lap. Down in 14th at the moment. Stanek building up that lead up to 2.5 seconds out in front. It's been super good for the Red Bull. I remember, believe, what race was it? Was it Spain where they had an opportunity to win? They took pole position then. And it really went to dust for them. And Oxong's gone off the track. Don't think they got punted off by their teammate there, but Mike Oxong, either on their own accord or by contact, goes off the track, and Otto breathes a sigh of relief. Not 100% sure what happened there. Meanwhile, Synchro is on the back of Vapor now. Vapor could be in trouble now for that 2nd place. And you can see the speed there of the Haas car. We'll have DRS and also the ERS, the energy recovery system, to use as well. Deploying the battery slightly, and there isn't really much of a challenge here because Synchro gets well clear of the AlphaTauri by the time they get into turn 1, and the championship leader up into 2nd place, and will now begin their pursuit on Stanek for the lead of this race. 3 seconds clear then, but will Vapor try and fight back? The answer is, well, they try to, but not able to get ahead on that occasion. And Synchro then will try and get rid of the AlphaTauri out of their DRS zone as a result of that. And the Alpine cars swapping around again. Now Vexter back ahead of Mike Oxong and up to 5th place. And these two can scrap away as much as they want, but they're allowing the Williams of Otto to get away. Otto in 4th place at the moment. Here is Victor. Aizen struggling off the exit of turn 8. And Victor, will they try and move down into turn 10? Thinks better of it. And now DRS enabled. And this looks fairly straightforward. And Victor says, thank you very much. Up to 7th place. And Aizen almost runs into the back of the Mercedes in doing so. But Victor up to 7th place on those soft tyres. But I wouldn't be surprised if they pit again, because I don't suspect those soft tyres will go to the end of this race. Vapor still having DRS on Synchro, so now enabling him to gain. But you can see how much battery they've used. You can see on the steering wheel down to about 20%. Synchro having about 30% left over as well, so it's keeping them ahead. Meanwhile, this is Michael Fures on their recovery. Greenwell Army, who served a drive-through penalty and hasn't pitted yet. Up into 9th place, or I thought so. Greenwell Army has a bit of fight in them, but Michael Fures eventually gets back ahead. Neither of them actually had DRS, interestingly enough. Not quite sure what happened there, but either way, Fures up to 9th place. As the recovering Marco trying to get into the top 10 as well on those 12-lap-old medium tyres. Synchro beginning to take some time out of Stanek's lead at the moment. Gap down to 2.6 seconds. Marco ahead of Greenwell Army before the exit of turn 10. So must have had a good exit out of turn 9, but has gone wide. And now will the Red Bull come back on them? They've got DRS as well. Can Marco keep that Red Bull behind? They're going to move to the inside line here. And the Red Bull brakes later, and Marco will have to fight their way through all over again. Greenwell Army has the older tyres, but Marco made an error into turn 10. That put them on the back foot as a result of it. Still Vapor's DRS on the Haas car of Synchro. Back on board then with the Aston Martin, and this looks a little bit more straightforward for them. And up into the top 10 for Marco after that contact at the start. Marco in 10th place. Or actually, on second thoughts, is this Greenwell Army coming back again? I think so. They've got DRS enabled, but I think Marco this time is a bit too far ahead. And no way through for the Red Bull here. Synchro there. Meanwhile, that gap has opened back up to 3 seconds. Vapor on the back of them once again. So neither of these two making good dents on Stanik's lead at the moment. Looks fairly comfortable at the moment. Vapor could be going for a repass here on the Haas for the lead of for second place. And it's turn 15 we go. Synchro then. How much battery do they have left to defend from the AlphaTauri? Vapor with DRS able. You see the flashing red light on the AlphaTauri as well. They've not got much ERS. But will they pull out to the right hand side? Yes, they will. Down the inside into turn 1, but goes a little deep here. Synchro trying to come back around the outside. They bang wheels as well. But Synchro holds the line there. That could have been so close to contact, or something even worse. They did make contact actually. But they could have easily, could have been an even worse crash there. Synchro holding on to that second place very nicely indeed. Chasing the power DRS as well, because they've had no battery to use. Still was able to get alongside the Haas of Synchro into turn 1. Meanwhile, the two Alpines still fighting away with each other. Mike Oxong's got back ahead of Vexter. But Vexter's right on them as well, and Victor's closing in on both of them at the moment. Vapor then holding back, still keeping within that second at the moment. Meanwhile, that gap has increased massively out in front. Almost 4 seconds now between the race leader and second place Synchro. The more these two fight, the more it really benefits the leader. So if Vapor is going to pass Synchro here, got to pass him quickly. Here we go again. No ERS you can see, but this is DRS enabled. You see the Alfa Romeo keeps out of the way, and rightly so. Vapor ahead now into turn 1. But now can Synchro come back? You can see them using what little ERS they have as well. Even with DRS, they don't actually have the DRS actually. Does Synchro. And as a result of that, Vapor able to hold on to second place. The Alpines still, well, not fighting away with each other. Trying to catch the Williams, I believe. These two could be fighting for a while. Marco is now up after Michael Furious for 9th place. As Whitson gets ahead of Greenwell Army. Synchro waiting until probably turn 1 or down the pit straight to make a move. Through into turn 14 we go. And they'll all be gearing themselves up for a good run into the final corner. Can Synchro repass the AlphaTauri for second place? They are giving up the fight to Stanik though. Stanik now 5 seconds clear. This isn't a great camera angle. Vapor moving immediately to the far right hand side. Moves immediately there, and you saw the Synchro having to lift off slightly. Don't think they knew exactly where Vapor was going to go. But Vapor moving back onto the racing line. And does hold on to that second place. Synchro with DRS enabled. Can't find a way through to turn 4. Marco ahead in of Furious, because Furious is into the pits again. And on goes the soft compact tires. That should take them to the end of the race. As does Greenwell Army as well. Slight lock up again for Synchro to turn 10. Assuming they're not running ABS. Again, Synchro could just get close, but not close enough to make an overtake here. But it's all about the pit straight here. That seems to be the most powerful place for an overtake. You can see that Synchro retaining a lot of their battery. Almost got 50% now in the tank. Will they use any of it to attack Vapor here? May not need to, because the DRS and Slipstream might just be enough here. Vapor moving to the right hand side, just weaving there. But that's not going to be enough. Synchro is alongside them. And Synchro breaking into turn 1 here. But Vapor trying to fight around the outside here. Gives each other enough room and respect here. The DRS has gone to Synchro, and Synchro takes second place very, very easily there. And up into second place they go. But every time these two fight, Static is taking a full second out of them. But they are giving up the lead of this race as a result of that. And these two, whilst they are catching Otto, they are mostly fighting with each other as well. Victor, I think their soft tyres have gone as well. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see that Mercedes in the pits as well. So now Vapor will have their chance to attack again. Vapor, of course, on 11 lap medium tyres. Might have seen as well Marco pitted as well for Aston Martin. Comes back out in 14th place on the soft tyres. It's been a horrific race for them. And they'll certainly lose points in the championship. They might even lose second place here to Vapor as well. As Static now makes a pit stop. The race leader comes in. So it is a 2-stop here. On go the soft tyres. Now, are any of these drivers crazy enough to go for a one-stop strategy? As you see there, Vapor gets close to the back of Synchro again. Where is Static going to come out here? I think Static will come out in about 6th or 7th place. Not close enough here for Vapor. Static returns out just ahead of the McLaren of Aizen as well. So now there's a big question here. Will the medium runners choose to stay out? And whether or not they can stay out, that's another question. Or will they pit as well? As Fures sets the fastest lap of the race. Down in 13th though, that's their only problem. Static did pit as well behind the Mercedes of Victor, so he's got to get past them quickly as well to ensure they don't lose time. Once again, no passes there for Vapor. Static might fancy a passer on the Mercedes and does so. Much better traction and much better grip means the Red Bull is ahead of the Mercedes into turn 11 and Static up to 5th place. Now what are these two going to do? Will we see them enter into the pits as well? They both stay out actually. I think Vapor did consider going into the pits. But Vapor instead fancies a pass on the Haas of Synchro. Down the inside into turn 1 they go. And the lead now goes to Vapor. So Vapor now trying to go for back-to-back wins, I presume. Synchro catching them up into turn 4, but once again, no move there. See there, Mike Cox on pitting as well for Alpine. Also pitting as well was Victor. So Static now up into 4th place. Marco now gets the fastest lap of this race. And I'm presuming these two are going to consider staying out then until the end of this race. The question is, can they? Static is 11.5 seconds back from these two. So this is a bold strategy if they do stay out, because I'm not sure the tyres will last that long. And if they do, that's perfect for them. Medium tyres usually go for about 15 laps here, usually. So you'll need a bit of tyre saving, and you won't tyre save if you are finding each other all the time. They're both coming into the pits, not Synchro though. Synchro bluffing, but Vapor pits. So Synchro will stay out for another lap here. One less place then for Stanek to pass the car. So Stanek now back up into the podium places. And on go the soft tyres then. So Synchro, will they stay out for the remainder of the race? As we've got a yellow flag somewhere. Not 100% sure why. Doesn't look like anyone's having an issue. Vexter now sets the fastest lap of this race. This is Darren R420. Having a look on ISRL Hartman, both on the hard compound tyres. But Darren's a little fresher, but they've both got Victor catching them behind as well. Stanek also catching up to the Williams of Otto for second place as well. Can Stanek catch Synchro with 7 laps to spare here? That's the big question. Synchro will have very worn tyres, whereas Stanek will have fresh soft tyres. And this should be a fairly straightforward pass here for the Red Bull. And Synchro continuing to go, so I'm pretty sure now they are trying to go for the end of the race. Whether that's smart or not, I'm not 100% sure. Stanek, however, gets ahead of the Williams of Otto. Otto into third place here. And Stanek has a 9-second gap to catch Synchro. We've got a spinner, I think. That is the Aston Martin of Marco. Aston Martin's already had enough bad luck in the Bahrain Grand Prix. And I say bad luck, I mean no pace at all. But Marco's really hasn't had the best of runs then. And Victor has moved ahead of their teammate Hartman. Victor got ahead of Darren R420 already. And now has got ahead of their teammate as well for good measure. Good switch there between them. Vapor pursuing the McLaren of Azen. This should be a fairly straightforward pass as well. Hard tyres against the soft tyres. Shouldn't be fairly straightforward. Gap now 7.8 seconds. Mike Oxong has retired from the session. That's down in turn A, and we've got a virtual safety car. Now this could play right into Synchro's hands here. Synchro is just about to approach the pit lane. And they could get a very cheap pit stop here, so this has worked out perfectly for them. So either they stay out until the end, but Synchro hasn't. Synchro is staying out here. So Synchro wants to go to the end of this race. And I'm presuming they're going for the race win here, but can they go to the end? That's the big question here. Can Synchro make a one-stop work? Got 5 laps to go. That will be nip and tuck for the end there. They are playing a very risky game here, and I suppose they can do with such a big lead out in front, but... Oh, sorry, big lead in terms of the championship, I mean. Either way, bold strategy here from the championship leader. We'll see if it works out or not. Vapor also passed Azen as well for 4th place. But they've got a 10-second gap to Otto, as we've got DRS enabled then. No drive-through penalties for anyone on this occasion. We're back under racing conditions. And the gap between Stanek and Synchro, 7.4 seconds. And that's to catch them as well. But what state will Synchro's tyres be in? I'm going to keep an eye on what the telemetry shows as well. Mainly because I want to see what the lap difference is here. Obviously this lap won't matter because they are in the virtual safety car. So times aren't going to be representative of that. Meanwhile, here is Michael Fierez. And Darren R420, I don't think Darren can really defend this one. They do have DRS here, but Michael Furious can't really find a way through, actually. I'll tell you what, never mind. I was about to say, R420 didn't really have much of a defence there, but they clearly had enough straight line speed to keep the Alfa Romeo ahead. That gap now between first and second's coming down massively, down to 6.8 seconds. That's a full second. But I think Stanek might run out of laps here. If Synchro can keep those tyres alive, that's working out for them. Darren R420's got no ERS, and I don't know what they were doing there, slightly weaving from one way to the other. Either way, Michael Fures moves ahead of the Haas car. But R420 still trying to fight this one around as well, and fair play. And go, oof, there was a hit there, and I wonder if that's damaged the front wing there of Fures. That's kept R420 ahead though. Looks all okay at the moment. You can see there Fures going off the track there. I'm going to move back to these two because I do want to see what the lap times are for the top two here. That gap now down to 5.6 seconds. So as they cross the line here, what's the lap time for Synchro? 1:30.7. This is a 1:29.7, so that's a full second of a difference between these two. But if at the rate this is going, Stanek will run out of laps. We've only got 3 laps left. I think Stanek could struggle here. Unless Synchro gets a puncture or something, I think Stanek could be in trouble. Or Synchro's tyres completely die off. I think they're going to run out here. That gap almost down now, just below 5 seconds. Here goes Furious again. And this time, Furious gets the move done much earlier. And Furious up into 9th place. Oh, and that is R420 trying to come back down the inside there. Fair play. Had a go. But just had enough to slow it down there. And Furious wise enough to avoid the Haas car there. Furious now will go after ISRL Hartmann. It should be another easy picking. That's probably as far as they'll go then, because Victor's just a bit too far back as well. I'll tell you what though, that gap is beginning to close much quicker now. The gap now down to 3.8 seconds. I wonder if Synchro's tyres have gone off the cliff. Hoksong left the session. We've only had 3 DNFs. 1:31.1. I think it was a 31.1. That's a 29.2. I tell you what, now that gap's coming up quicker. 3.6 seconds then. Stanek now has taken about 1.5 seconds out of Synchro. As we watch ISRL Hartmann trying to defend from Furious there. It goes back round the outside of turn 12. We're on the penultimate lap here. 2 laps to go. Can Stanek make a 3.3 second gap up to catch and pass Synchro here? It's going to be nip and tuck between those two. Hartmann's trying everything to defend from the Alfa Romeo here. But with the slipstream, with DRS, not much they can do there. Furious up to 8th place then. And that's about probably as far as they'll go. Meanwhile, the gap now down to 2.6 seconds then between these two, with just over a lap to go. Synchro trying to fight those medium tyres and pray they can get to the end. I'll be hoping the checkered flag could come out 1 lap earlier, but it won't be. As we enter the final lap of the race, the gap then 2.1 seconds between Synchro and Stanek. Great time management here for Synchro. Stanek, don't know how they'll feel after this as well. Vapor is also on the back of Otto as well for 3rd place as well. So Vapor has been able to catch the Williams driver. If they can hold out as well, that'll be a podium for them. Wild Dog would be disappointed, of course, as well. The gap down to 1.8 seconds now. Stanek is going to run out of opportunities here, I think. And I think Otto is going to struggle for grip as well. The gap down to 1.4 seconds. Down to 1.2 now. I think Stanek. Will they get DRS here? I don't think so. They're giving it absolutely everything. And I think Synchro might just hold out here as well. You can see Vapor trying to catch them as well. Just over a second though, but I think Synchro might just hold this here. As Otto bravely trying to defend here. And does so, but actually look at the gap here. As we'll keep back on that in a second. Synchro has just about held on, I think. The gap under half a tenth of a second as these two are dueling away. We'll come back to them in just a second. But Synchro just about holds enough here and wins the Bahrain Grand Prix. Great stuff from them. Good time management. Stanek will be furious to finish in P10. Look at these two dueling away. And I think they're bashing wheels there as well. But it is going to be Vapor right at the end who claims a third place. What a dramatic way to end the Bahrain Grand Prix for Division 3. Aizen will finish in 5th place. Good run for them. 17 laps on the hard tyres is no easy feat. And Vexter almost caught them as well. They'll be disappointed as well. Victor in 7th place. Michael Furious in 8th place. Darren Offel20 in 9th. And Whitson in 10th place ahead of Hartman. Marco, who finishes down in 12th. Not the result they would have wanted. And will lose out in the championship as a result. Look at these all dueling away. Trying to find a way past Marco. Marco actually moves to 9th due to others' penalties actually. So bit of a more improvement for them. As Greenwell Army, look at these two as well. This is Greenwell and Fallen Monkeys fighting for 13th and 14th. And Greenwell Army should finish just enough ahead as well. But good time management there from Synchro. And I tell you what, Stanek would have wanted at least one more lap. Because I think if there was one more lap, Stanek was catching and passing there. But very well done then from the Haas driver and the championship leader who takes another Grand Prix victory. And another victory then as Synchro will extend their championship lead out in front. .46 lead at the front. And surely even further. Vapor should surely now take second in the driver standings as well. What a shame for Marco though. Not the race they would have wanted. We'll see what happens at the end there. But here's your final result then. Synchro ahead of Stanek and Vapor, your podium sitters. Ahead of Otto. Good run from them, but couldn't hold out to third at the end. Aizen in 5th. Vexter in 6th. Victor in 7th. Whitson in 8th. Marco in 9th. Michael Furious rounds out the top 10. And we've got Hartman, R420, Greenwell Army, Fallen Monkeys, Rusty Orkan, Mike Oxong. Mike Oxong didn't finish, but Rusty Orkan then the first of the final of the runners. Then Mike Oxong, Wild Dog, and Freefall. Your 3 DNFs from the session. And that is it for us then for Division 3. A pretty chaotic ending to the Grand Prix. Much like the actual F1 race today. But Division 2 has started. Division 1 will start later on as well. As we head to Jeddah then for the race next week then. But we'll see what happens with these next few races. But thank you all so much for watching. We will see you soon. Take care. Bye.